Welcome, Donn Smith. I'm so excited to have you on Enthusiastically Spiritual Podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, and thank you for having me on, Teresa.
Great. Well, I know we just talked a little bit and I'm seeing you and you're behind you. The vision is Mexico. And I see, is it the Gulf or Pacific behind you?
It's the Gulf.
The Gulf.
Yes,
Ah, so
yes.
I'm going to,
I'm kind of about 20 minutes from the Pacific. Yes.
beautiful. So I'm just going to feel those vibes for a minute because we need some of that positive energy, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because what I want to start with is how, as a collective, we have been shifting out of that negative energy that we've really been playing in and immersed ourselves in for decades and lifetimes. And I know that you work quite a bit with helping the collective shift out of that in the work you do personally as well as collectively for the consciousness, correct?
100% correct, Teresa. Yes. And so the way to best start with that is the Dr. David Hawkins Power versus Force. He created a chart, a consciousness chart to measure people's consciousness. And the bottom is that guilt and shame and evil and all of those, and it goes up further to, that's at like 10 and 20 and 30. And when he wrote his book, it was at 204, the collective, 204 out of 1,000. And then it's now at 210 out of 1,000. And
Wow.
he also stated that on average, a person raises their consciousness by 5 points in a lifetime. Okay. But
I believe that.
over an incredible, like 41 years of intense research and like doing things like cracking the code to instant and permanent transformation and figuring, by reverse engineering phobias and near-death experiences, I was able to speed that up dramatically. And people have been having this process they go from 210 to 700 in 2 to 3 hours.
Wow.
And yes, yes. And so, but that has taken me 41 years to unpack, unravel, okay, how does this work? What's missing? And then what happened was there was 3 different people came that took my process, and each had something, and I was able to put the 3 together to find out the perfect candidate, what they have to be able to make sure they can go from 210 to 700. And
interesting. So what comes to me as you're talking about this is how, okay, so my belief is obviously we're all souls, we're all energy, and we come here to learn and grow. And a lot of what we're here to learn and grow about is also to reawaken and remember all of that we have inside of ourselves, that we have everything we need inside, and that we have all kinds of levels of consciousness here. And so I guess what's coming to my mind is as you're telling about these, raising the consciousness of certain individuals, is that clearly they are ready to embrace that and to go there with you, correct?
yes, and that's the best. Yes, I can work with people with resistance. It just slows the process down. But I'm talking about the perfect candidate, and we're doing an event in September 22nd that we're looking at having 8,000 of the most ready clients possible. And by shifting them from 210 to 700, we'll raise all of humanity to above 700.
Ooh, and as you say that, I am filled with chills, and that's normally a confirmation from my guidance of some positive things going to be happening. You said September 22nd, huh? Of 20. This is 2021.
Yes.
Just make sure anyone listening in the future that this is
Yes,
2021.
it's 2021 I'm talking about. It's about 6 weeks away. Yes. And that's the key, because once again, it's all scientifically proven by Dr. Hawkins' book, Power versus Force, the conscious chart, that 8,000, one person at 700 offsets 1 million people. So 8,000 at 700 will offset 8 billion.
Wow. That will definitely make a change.
Well, actually, it's more than change. It's actually a transformation. That's the difference between change and transformation. So it's literally the caterpillar to butterfly.
I love that.
It's not teaching the caterpillar how to fly.
Mhm.
It's actually on that same day, they go from who they think they are, both negative and positive,
Mhm.
to who they truly are, which is their divinity.
Well, and I know for myself in the spiritual work that I do, and with my guidance and my understanding, is that we're here right now at this perfect time for this type of opportunity to happen, and for the multitudes of people who are on the planet sharing spirituality in different levels and different realms, to really come together and support one another, and to get out the information like what we're doing today with your is it a workshop, or is it just an event online, or what is it, Donn?
Actually, it will be a Zoom,
Okay. Mhm.
and it'll be a stream streaming, whatever it's
Mhm.
called. I'm not very technical, and
You got it. That's
and
what it is.
so we have a system that we could have up to 1 million people
Mhm.
on.
Right.
And but we're planning on like 100,000 to get that 8,000,
Right.
because
Right.
it's the 8,000 we're looking for.
Yeah.
And
Super.
the ones that are the most ready, most receptive, it's like, oh my God, I've been searching my whole life, and here it is.
Right. Right. And that's ultimately for the pathway to freedom, right? Hello,
Well,
as
it is.
souls.
It's all of those words, Teresa. Like
Right.
once they're there, like you don't even have to tell them.
Mhm.
I could tell you a short one. It's so beautiful. I was doing one of the people that took my process was Spanish, but he was always also English.
Mhm.
And so I decided, let's do this. Let's interpret. Let's do English and Spanish. So he would stand beside me and he would say what I was saying.
Mhm.
And one of the ladies in the Spanish version, actually it was Spanish and English. I did that for a while, and then I put them together. And so here it was, and it was a 73-year-old. And for 70 years of her life, she walked around with not good enough, not worthy, and not loved.
Mhm.
70 years. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Something happened at age 3.
Mhm.
When we were finished, that was all gone. I never asked her a word. I just said, so Alejandra, how large is your heart energy? She said, infinito.
Oh,
How
love it.
large is your worth energy? Infinito. How powerful are you? Invincible. She gave me those words on her own.
Beautiful.
And that was 2 hours and 15 minutes in a group of 30.
Mhm. Wow. Well, I'm excited about that, Donn. And so I guess, really we kind of jumped right into what's coming, which we normally kind of go through. I mean, what I want to share with my listeners is when I first found out about you and you kind of came to me to, perhaps be interviewed with during a sharing, I was just like, I was so excited how enthusiastic you are. And obviously being enthusiastically spiritual myself, I
Yes,
love to
you are.
find like attracts like energy. And so share with me and my listeners a little bit about your journey, and how did you get to where you're at with that enthusiasm? Have you always had it? Did you find it along your path? How did it work for you, Donn?
Well, keeping in mind, we're talking 41 years here, Teresa.
Okay.
And it started with a drunken brawl with my wife in 1979, and ended up, I was sitting at the kitchen table the next morning thinking, how can I get into my neighbor's garage, get a shotgun to just end this pain?
Mm. Mhm.
Okay, so that was the tipping point. Ended up going to AA. I was in that for 15 years.
Mhm.
And but in between there, I was an addiction therapist for 8 years. I worked with federal parole. I worked with the toughest of the tough: murderers, serial rapists, armed robbers, and the results were amazing with all of them.
Mhm.
And but I just kept evolving and evolving and evolving, and then I went on my own and all of that, and then I started working with the elite. I got on the PGA. We were working with a player, and then he was best friends with the top CEO of the top company in Canada. He called me up. Can you do this? Yeah. How about this? Yeah. How about this and this? Yeah. Okay. Can you be in Toronto here tomorrow? Yes, I can. And that all of a sudden the door opened up to the elite. And so I
Mhm.
worked with the elite for 10, 12 years. That one guy, I saved him $615 million in 6 minutes. Like big things. NHL hockey player. He had 2 goals a third of the way in. At the end of the season, he had 41 and took his team to within 2 games to win the Stanley Cup. And they hadn't been in the playoffs for 7 years. Like just crazy things.
Right.
And then what happened was in February of 2014, my wife died of cancer. 3 months later, I found out my daughter had cancer, and she died in May of 2015.
Wow.
And that took the major shift, the major, okay, enough about the money, the big, all of that. Not that I can't work with that clientele. I can most easily. But I said on a Sunday evening at 6 o'clock, I'm going to do a cancer group, people with stage 4 cancer. I'm going to have 10. And so 10 came from all over North America. And there was that many, that was what was there on the 20th. And 5 did what I wanted, 5 didn't. I only know the answer of one of them. She never made it. And one of the 5 that I work with hasn't. But if I could share one quick story of one of those. And I was just talking to him on Tuesday. He took the program, and that was, like I said, December 20th. And he got an opportunity to work with 2 specialists, cancer specialists, at the end of January. And so he was having an operation on the Tuesday. It was 13 and a half hours. And they told him that he would wear a bag, he wouldn't have kids, and the other option, he was going to die, wouldn't make it. Anyway, they just opened up his stomach, and there was 4 tumors. They just snipped them off, put the stomach back together, and they called it miraculous. And then on Thursday night, his wife Samia called me and said, Donn, Manuel's in so much pain, he can't breathe, he can't talk, nothing. He just, can you do something? I said, well, I don't do something, but so I just asked him some questions, and 20 minutes later, in 1 second, he sat up, all the pain was gone. Found out later, all the cancer was gone.
Wow.
And they're now 6 months pregnant. And,
amazing.
Yes. And so those things happen. Those are the miracles of being in our divinity, because everybody's divine, as you know.
Yes.
And it's getting them to see that divinity through all the negative and positive beliefs that they think they are. That's the key. They have negative beliefs about themselves. They're not good enough and not loved, like Alejandra. And then the odd time they have the positive ones. I am good enough. I am worthy. I am loved. And they think that's the answer, but it's not.
Right.
Because it's an externally referenced system, and it's not who they are. They're truly divine. And that's why, yes. And so I just figured out this over all these years, all of these pieces. It's like I put 100,000 piece puzzle together to find out that's not how you do it, which is how everybody else is doing it.
Right.
So it's the how I created. And by reverse engineering phobias and near-death experiences, I was able to create instant and permanent. And that's how it happens, because their belief system was created in an instant, and they kept it. Alejandra had it for 70 years.
Right.
In a negative way. So I just reversed the process that she had already created.
Very cool. I think that's the thing too about it. People, they don't understand, like in working, especially with the energy fields, is like you can change things like on a dime, like that,
Yes.
Which obviously is what you're talking about.
Yes, it's instant. It's literally instant. But remember, I'm not giving them anything. They don't need anything.
Right.
They've already done it.
Yes.
So 95% of the population on the planet have a phobia. Which was created in an instant, and they made it permanent.
Right.
It's just against themselves. About who they're not.
Right.
And I just reversed that.
Very cool. So obviously this is part of your I Am Divinity process. Is that correct?
Yes. Actually, what I call that, yes, it's I Am Divinity. That's the who we are. I just like I am divinity.
Yeah.
Okay. And then For example, the event on September 22nd, it's I Am Divinity Globalversity is how people.com is how they find out about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have the, transformwithdonn.com for, the elite, working with me one-on-one and the small groups and things like that. But this is for the masses. This is the one to shift humanity's consciousness as a whole.
Which is exactly where we're all at, right? I mean, it seems like, especially with all the pandemic stuff we've all been through, all the shifting and changing, it's like, it's on, it's, I always like to say it's on like Donkey Kong. Like there's no time left to present. You need to get on it. If your soul is ready to do that, right, Donn?
Yes, Teresa, that's the key.
Mm-hmm.
The piece that I have is the speed. Is the speed, the how to.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's doing the right thing.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Everybody's doing the right thing, like how to get a person to see their light and to, to let go of the anger, to let go. I'm talking about it all happening in 2 hours.
Right.
That's the difference.
Right.
That's the only difference. It's the speed to which this all happens, and to do it in a way that it's at an identity level.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking behaviors here.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about changing behaviors. We're talking about changing an identity from who we think we are to the knowing of who we truly are.
Now, have you found that with those kind of changes, I mean, are there people that maybe like go back to what they used to be ever?
Yes, there is, because they're not tied. You already mentioned it earlier. And what it is, and the 3 categories that I have found that it worked for all 3 of them was that I've had enough of the system that I was in. None of it works. I'm still searching. I'm still empty inside. I still don't have that fulfillment feeling. It's still all there.
Right.
I'm prepared to jump into the unknown, into the unfamiliar, and do it.
Right.
And those that do that get 100% of the results and hold them. One lady went 3.5 months without a negative thought.
Wow.
One other guy went 40 days without a negative thought.
That's amazing.
One other story, like one guy that was so immersed in one of the top personal development programs out there. Mm-hmm. He spent 10 years with him. Mm-hmm. 10 years taking the top programs.
Right.
And I do a muscle test. I'm not sure if you're familiar with muscle testing,
mm-hmm.
but yeah. So I did a muscle test on a negative event, put his arm down with one pinky. Mm-hmm. Then he took his best moment in that 10 years, and I put his arm down with 2 fingers. Mm-hmm. When we were done, now it took us 90 minutes to put all the pieces together of what it was.
Right.
And in 1 second, it was all gone, because he still had all the programs.
Right.
They were just kind of like, he learned how to use them better. Mm-hmm. But in 1 second, they were all gone. And I hung off his arm with my whole body, and I couldn't budge.
Wow. Yeah. So what comes to me, it depends on people are ready for it. Right. And like, so I also believe in baby steps, but I also really believe that people right now are at a point where it's like a make or break. It's like,
yes.
you move forward in one way or you move forward in the other way. There's no gray anymore. It's going to be black or it's going to be white. And which way do you want your soul to go? Do you want to be the most divine, amazing, expansive soul that you are? Or do you want to fall into the fear, the anxiety, all the other things that that other negative side is feeding? It's just feeding on people.
Yeah. Now, in all fairness to them, they need to know something. Mm-hmm. They are fighting a phobia created by their ego. Mm-hmm. And a phobia is almost impossible to transform intellectually. Uh-huh. So they have to do it in the same system that was created, which was neurological. Mm-hmm. And they have to find a moment where it was created to reverse that process. Right. And if they're trying to do it intellectually, that's why they get frustrated, because they're 2 different systems. Yeah. How they're trying to change it and how it was created.
Gotcha.
And so I do it neurologically and cellularly. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. I reprogram the 100 trillion cells to the new knowing of who they truly are.
Mhm. That would definitely make a
And it's
difference.
yes, and that's all done in between 2 and 2.5, 3 hours, depending on how open and receptive you are.
Right. And where you're at in your journey, like, are you ready to go there or not? And my belief
Yes.
too is like with all the people out in the world, as I mentioned earlier, who are sharing amazing aspects of spirituality and how to step into, who you are as a soul and et cetera, they're going to find Donn Smith in the right timing. And they're going to find Donn Smith to shift because they're ready for you and what you offer in the world.
And that's it, Teresa, the ready person.
Yeah.
That's the 8,000 we're looking for.
Right.
The ones that are ready, the ones that have already talked to the Teresas and got prepared and figured out all these pieces.
Right.
And this is how. And the only thing missing is the how.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
That speed piece, because we need the speed piece. Humanity's on a crash course for destruction.
Right.
And we don't have time. A beautiful lady that helped me when my daughter died, or my wife and daughter died. And she has a beautiful program, but it's a year long.
Right. Right.
We don't have a year.
Yeah.
We don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, yeah. And so that's what I'm talking about, that instant and permanent transformation. And I'm telling you this, those that are ready, you use those words, they are 100% accurate, Teresa.
Mm-hmm.
Those that are ready will get 100% of the results, and they'll be instant and it'll be permanent.
Mm-hmm. So if you're
Now,
ready to
others,
get on board,
yes, yes,
and shift
now
yourself.
Others that are, yeah, I'm not sure, sounds too good to be true. Maybe I'll wait. I don't have the money, like whatever.
Right.
And all that is resistance of the ego. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's going to fight. It's going to fight because it doesn't want you to be in your light.
Of course it doesn't.
Because it's not going to survive.
Right.
And so, but those that are ready will have the muscle, the enthusiasm, the yes to not allow the ego to affect them. Mm-hmm. And that would be the permanent. But it's 3 phases. Mm-hmm. So it's transformation is phase 1, holding is phase 2, and acceleration is phase 3, and they're each at 2 weeks apart. And so that holding gets in, and the transformation, the acceleration.
Now, is that what starts in September, Donn? Is that it? It's a 2-week, every 2-week thing?
No, actually what happens is in September, because all of that's built into the process. Okay. But all they have to be concerned about is the transformation on September 22nd. Mm-hmm. It's that instant and permanent transformation on September 22nd.
Which is the fall equinox. Which I should say, let me rephrase that, which is around the fall equinox, which is an amazing energetic portal. If you believe in that stuff, it's a great time to shift into something different, to a new you.
And it's my birthday.
Well, there you have it. Hello. And that is even a greater reason to be on that day with Donn Smith, right?
Yes, we'll all celebrate it together.
That's right. All 8,000 plus people, right?
Yes. Remember that the 8,000 is the ones that are what you're saying is the most ready. Yeah. And whether we have 10,000, 40,000, 60,000, some of them will shift like the 8,000, but I'm guaranteeing that the 8,000 will. Right, right.
Well, it sounds exciting, Donn.
Yes, it is very exciting. So that's where the I Am Divinity globalversity.com have access to that event for September 22nd.
Okay. Well, I'll make sure that all that information's in the show notes so that all the listeners, and they can share it with their friends and get it out there to 8,000, 60,000, 100,000 people, 1 million people.
Yes.
And join in on Donn's birthday, because that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're here to celebrate Donn's birthday.
Darn it, we're going to celebrate Donn's birthday in a big way. Everyone have your little cake at home so you can have a little piece of cake when you're done. Well, Donn, it has been such a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to this event. I'm going to check it out myself. And I hope that all my listeners check it out. And
Yes,
I
that
really,
was-
I thank you for coming on and sharing your enthusiasm and your excitement about, you know what, just being a soul, being here right now and shifting, helping shift the consciousness of the planet.
Yeah, it's so exciting for us to be on this journey together, Teresa.
It really is.
Congratulations for the work that you do.
Thank you so much, Donn. I really appreciate it. And take care, and we'll be connecting soon for sure.
Yeah, and listen, save me a dance.
Yeah, right. Let's do I want to do a cha-cha.
Yeah, oh, that's my fave. That's my
I know, me
fave.
too. I love the cha-cha. Thank you, Donn.
Take care, Teresa. All
Thank
the
you.
best.
You
Pleasure.
too.